Hello, Sofia. Thank you for being here in Belgrade.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
So, are the book fairs important for you, and why? And how did you find Belgrade Book Trade?
Of course, book fairs are very important for us writers because that's how our readers will meet our literature. So it's very interesting to go and visit and to meet readers, because being a writer is a very lonely job. I'm at home with my imagination, and then coming out it becomes more real to find out that there are actually people reading what I write.
And now you have met readers in Serbia as well.
Yes, I have very friendly readers.
What were your impressions about Belgrade Book Fair when you came for the first time in the hall?
Oh, the building is beautiful. I like it very much. It looked like a spaceship and it triggered my imagination. I wanted to fly off with all the books. I had everything I needed. And then it was very, I always enjoy seeing my books with a different language and meeting the readers and talking to them, and having them ask me questions. So.
In one interview you said that you grew up in the house without many books,
yes.
But that you have discovered the passion for reading. How did it came to you?
Yes, it's very strange. Actually, I grew up in a very creative home. So my father, he used to do woodwork and he drew his own houses and built them, and my mother did sewing and my sisters too, but we didn't have any books at home, and I am not sure how I found them, but when I did, it was like diamonds for me. I was very attracted to them. So I used to hide in bookstores behind the shelf because the children's department is always in the back. And so I used to hide and read until they threw me out.
Do you remember your favorite book from the childhood?
Yeah, well, I had one favorite book called Kulla. It's a Swedish writer. It's about a girl, an orphan. And it's a really good story. It's many books. And I also very much enjoyed Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, a classic. And I think I liked that book so much because Jo, in the book, she wants to become a writer. And maybe that's what triggered my dream, to become a writer.
What is your personal reason for writing?
Well, it's like breathing. I have to write. It's the one thing that I love the most to do. So, and if I don't write, I get a little bit sad. So I think I just have to write.
And what kind of reader are you nowadays?
I read a lot. I'm actually, I've been a reader my whole life, so I read books every week, and I read many various types of books. I love novels. I love like Ian McEwan and Don DeLillo and Joyce Carol Oates and those writers with the epic storytelling. So, and I very much enjoy reading Swedish literature. I read new authors when they release books. And I try to keep up with everything.
So you read also contemporary literature, right?
Yes, I do.
More than classic ones? Or both?
No, I enjoy reading classic books too. Oscar Wilde and, well, yes, I go back to those books. Strindberg sometimes, a Swedish writer.
Tough, yes.
Yes.
Tough one.
Yes, he's a tough one. But I need to have something to read every day. So I'm like when I was a kid, I just took everything that had words in it. It could be a commercial paper. I just needed to read. So I'm a little bit like that still.
So now we know that you like to read, you like to write. What is your day look like? How does your day look like? What do you do when you get up? Do you read as soon as you open your eyes?
I am, and I enjoy routines very much. And I think that is what makes me disciplined as a writer. So I wake up and I take my dog for a walk for maybe 45 minutes or an hour in the forest. And when I walk with my dog, I think. And that's when I start working. And then I go home and I have a coffee. I sit down by the desk. I often check the emails first and do all those practical things, and then I start writing. And then I basically write the whole day until my son comes home from school. Then we have a snack and talk, and then I write a little again.
And then in the evening you read, or you continue to write?
Another thing that I love is movies. So I like to watch movies in the evenings. Before, when I started writing, I had a job in the daytime and I wrote in the evenings. But nowadays I have the luxury of writing during the days. So now I can watch movies in the evenings. But storytelling is my passion, yes.
Where do you look for your inspiration?
Well, I think writing for me is not that much about inspiration, actually. It's about hard work. But nature and the wild and the outdoors give me like the inner peace that I need to be able to write. So it's very important for me to be outdoors.
And at what moment you know that you have the perfect story or the perfect plot?
I wish, but never.
Never?
No, I'm never satisfied with anything that I write. I always think about how to become a better writer. And I think the day that I become very satisfied with what I do, I need to switch jobs and do something else.
So that means that you edit a lot your manuscripts?
Oh,
or how
absolutely.
do you know that they're finished? At what point you say to yourself like, oh, okay, I'm done now?
Well, actually I write my manuscripts several times. First I write the story from my heart. I just write and I don't think much. And then I print it and I start over and I write it again. And then I hand it over to my first reader, which is my friend Carl. And so I listen to his reaction, and if it's a good reaction, I show it to my publisher. If not, I keep working with it. And then I work with my editor to try to improve it. And it's very difficult to let go of a novel. I get very sad. It's heartbreaking. So I keep thinking about my characters after the books are finished, actually. I have them in my mind. They're always with me. Doris from the Red Address book and Elin from A Question Mark is Half a Heart. They are in me all the time, in my thoughts.
But would Doris be happy if she knew that you're here with me talking about in some Belgrade, so far away from Sweden and so far away from everything that she knew, for instance?
You mean Doris in the book, or do you mean, yes,
Doris
because there's another Doris too, that the book is dedicated to. Yes, because Doris in the book, she encourages Jenny to write and to fulfill her dreams. So I think she would be very happy. And I'm hoping she's somewhere close to me, watching.
And how did the story of Elin in your second novel that we just published in Serbia came to life? How did you find it? How did you create the story about her?
Well, she actually came on the last page of the Red Address book. I ask a question. The last question is, did you love enough? And one evening I was sitting at home and I was watching my finished book, going through the pages, and I looked at that question and I started thinking about my own life. And I drew a question mark on the page several times. And then suddenly I saw a question mark is half a heart. So that's how the title came to me. And then I started to think about secrets, the secrets that we keep to the people that are close to us. And that's how the story became real. Elin, she has hidden her childhood for her family. But one day she gets a letter from a childhood friend, and then she cannot hide anymore. She has to confront her past.
And Doris and Elin are strong women, both of them. And why is it so important for you to paint this kind of strong female characters?
Oh, it is. I think it's important for, not only for women, but for all people to be true to themselves and to be strong and believe in themselves. It's very sad, I think, with low self-esteem, and it hurts us so much. So I think I really wish that my characters will heal and have a good life. So the mystery for me when I write is to find out what is it that makes them, not feel 100% good, and can I fix it? So I try to fix it.
Do you fix somehow yourself while you're writing them?
Hopefully. I am very interested in psychology, and of course, writing stories makes you think about your own life. Absolutely. So yes.
what, when you write, what does it provide for you? You have answered me like you can heal them, you can heal yourself in a way. What else? Is there something else?
I very much enjoy being in my imagination, making up things. It's very funny. I enjoy it a lot. Like making up things makes me smile during my days.
Did you have any expectation when you finished your first book?
Actually, the Red Address book wasn't the first book I wrote, because I started writing when I got divorced, and I was very sad when my son went to his dad, so I started writing stories for him, little stories, stupid, silly stories. And when he came back, I read some pages, and I had also drawn pictures to him. And then, I mean, he grew older and he got tired of my stories, and I started writing for older readers. And but I got rejected 2 times. So when I started writing the Red Address book, I had realized that I had to write in order to like stay alive. But I had no expectations at all to be published. I was gonna actually, I had a plan to put a shelf next to my desk and to put all the manuscripts on the shelf and to leave them there for someone to find when I died. But luckily a publisher found it, so it became a book.
Great, so it came to life.
Yes.
So writing means life, actually.
Yes.
And how do you interact with your readers?
Well, I do that actually every day, because I have readers all around the globe, and so every day I get beautiful messages from my readers, and I see really beautiful posts where they write about my books, and I try to answer. I find it very interesting to connect with people in different cultures.
Did somebody tell you that you told their story in
Yes.
particular? Yes.
Well, many people have recognized themselves. And with the Red Address book, many people tell me that they have started to talk to their older relatives in a new way. They've started to ask questions, and that makes me so happy. Because I imagine like someone in Korea or here in Serbia or in the US or in France pay an extra visit to their grandfather and ask about their youth. It's really rewarding for me.
And the last question is, can you describe your reader? Do you imagine somebody, you know, like physically when you write?
Well, the thing is with my readers that fascinates me is that they react the same way in the whole world, which for me is very comforting, that we people are so much alike, and that like love and loss and all those emotions are so universal.
And you told me today that actually men are also reading your books.
Yes.
What do they say, and
The
why
same.
that moves them? Because they're like pretty female stories, but it moves them. How do you explain
They
that?
react the exact same way as the females, which
That
is also
mean?
interesting. Everyone talks about how important it is to listen to the older generation or to be true to themselves. And I do not see any difference in my readers, actually, which is very, I think it's wonderful.